PSAs, aka public service announcements. Yesterday, it was announced that the United States and Joe Biden and his people are planning a diplomatic boycott of the China Beijing Olympics. I got to tell you, you know what that means? That means no USA political representatives will be there. Who gives a rat's ass? You want to do something strong? You want to stand up to slavery? You want to stand up to human rights violations? How about you just simply don't send the athletes? Now, I don't want to see that happen. But I also don't give a rat's ass that Joe Biden or one of his assistants or his mistresses or his aunts, his uncle, I don't even know who the hell's on his staff, we're not going to the Olympics. Who cares? Personally, I don't want you boycotting anything. Personally, I'd like to see you just stand up and have some sack. But the truth of the matter is that's never going to happen, no matter what China does to us. And the fact of the matter is a diplomatic boycott is useless. Follow Ennis Cantner Freedom on Twitter if you want to know all about it. I'm not going to sit here and rant and rave because I know at some point y'all will get tired of ranting and raving about these things. But let's be honest. When you heard the United States has a diplomatic boycott against the Beijing Olympics, what'd you think? Like, what'd you think? I know what I thought. Well, what is this? And then I found out what it is. Who gives a shit? Seriously. Who gives a rat's ass that Biden and Kamala and whoever else is we're not going? Really? Wow. That'll embarrass them. I mean, that'll embarrass a country that is doing everything they can possibly to bring down our government, everything possible to hurt it. Yeah, that'll get them. You go, Joe. You go. We won't have you stumbling down or upstairs. My God. If you're going to do something, do it. If you're going to boycott the whole thing. Now, I don't want to see it happen because, frankly, I like watching the Winter Olympics. The only time I'm ever watching downhill skiing, figure skating, or anything else, but I like it. But if you're going to do it, for the love of all things holy, have some sack and just simply do it. Speaking of sack, did you see Miami, the U, the vaunted U, Coral Gables, private university, above all the rest? Did you see how they handled this football coaching search? Did you see what they did? Manny Diaz is the head coach, was the head coach. Manny Diaz is the son of the mayor of Miami. Manny Diaz coming to Miami a few years ago was a son coming home. Oh, okay. So Manny Diaz as the head coach has to sit there, be out recruiting while a very public shit show goes on between Mario Cristobal, the Oregon coach, and all the donors and / athletic department people of the University of Miami courting Mario Cristobal while Manny Diaz is sitting there in recruits' homes trying to sell University of Miami. I've never seen anything more embarrassing. I've never seen anything more disrespectful to one of your own. Let's be honest. You don't want Manny Diaz? Fine. Don't have Manny Diaz. Get rid of him. Fire him. Pay the buyout. Do what everybody else does. But my God, you sit there as an administration at a place that's supposedly about education, higher learning, all that kind of stuff, and the folks in the suits, they can't figure out how to go get a coach when they already have a coach, how to get rid of the coach, then go get the coach, or don't let it become private. I've told this story many times. Steve Alford leaves University of Iowa to go to New Mexico. Paul Krebs, the AD at New Mexico, had called me, said, hey, privately, can you arrange a meeting with me and Alford? Sure. Alford, you interested? Yeah. All right, here's the deal. Man, oh man. University of Miami, what in the hell are you doing? I don't care if you don't like coaches. I don't care if you think they're higher paid. I'm going to get into that in a minute. I don't care what you think. That's just stone embarrassing, and sometimes you got to look at it like your own job. Like if I'm sitting here doing this show and all of a sudden Fox and Outkick are auditioning another guy for this show, I'd be a little pissed. Hey, you don't want me? Get rid of me. Pay the buyout. What a ridiculous display. College athletics cannot get out of its own way. College athletic directors cannot think straight. If you ever want to know how not to run a business, look up college athletic directors. Swear to God. Jeez. All right, coaches. A lot of uproar, man. Oh, my God, these football coaches. They're getting paid too much. No, they're not. In fact, they're finally getting paid what they're worth. I mean, let's be honest. What's Nick Saban worth? What was Urban Meyer worth to the University of Utah? You know what he was worth to Bowling Green? Because of Urban Meyer, there's a big football building in the end zone. You know what I was worth to Bowling Green? Because of me developing relationships, Bowling Green State University, in the middle of me being gone, built a new building. Kerm Stroh, it was named after. Where'd he get involved? Because of me. Bill Frack, the floor's named after. Two of the biggest donors. How'd they get to know Bill? Because of me. Sometimes you leave and your impact lasts. Urban Meyer left. His impact has lasted. Kyle Whittingham has done a really good job at Utah. I'm watching Utah, packed houses, travel well, top 20s, big bowls. That wasn't happening until Urban Meyer got there. Urban Meyer was worth his weight in gold to Utah. Urban Meyer was worth his weight in gold to Florida. How's Florida done since Urban Meyer? What, they got 4 coaches? I'm telling you, coaches at that level, you can't pay them enough. I'll give you an example. The softball coach, Pat Murphy, at Alabama, is a very good friend of my wife, Lee's. So Pat meets us at the Alabama-Tennessee game. Pat shows us, he points, there's 6 suites right there. A little higher, but not all the way up. $5 million a year. 2-year commitment. So over the course of 2 years, that's $60 million. I'm a bad math student, got a D in finite math, my only math class at Indiana. That's $60 million. The line is as long from me to outside my house for donors willing to pony up the $5 million. 36 seats in there. Anything you want. What do you want this week? Lobster? Got it. $5 million a year. 2-year commitment. That's $10 million for 1 suite over freaking 2 years. Multiply that by 6, that's $60 million. The fact of the matter is, Urban Meyer, I go back to him because Florida's been such a joke. National champions, enrollments, my God. Coaches are finally being paid their worth in football. Basketball, I don't know. I always knew this when I coached at Bowling Green. There were 4,000 seats in my arena. There was 20,000 seats in the football. I understood the economics of it. But my God, all this whining, bitching, and moaning. Look, maybe some of these guys aren't worth it. I don't know. But be careful what you wish for. Because when Florida got what a lot of their boosters wished for, Urban Meyer to be gone, they have not made near the amount of money. They have not had near the success. And right now, they're back to where Florida was in the 80s under Charlie Pell. Kell, whatever the hell his name is. Until frickin' Steve Spurrier got there. Damn. All right. The NBA. It's okay for the NBA now to become pro-America and denounce what's going on in China. When you see CNN doing that, then you got to say, wait a second. For all you woke crazy people, if CNN and Bill Maher say it's okay, then it's okay for the NBA. You're going to mark my words. Sooner than later, let me give you a timeline on this. By the end of the NBA playoffs, which is about 6-8 months from now, you will see somehow, some way, the NBA denounce China. I'm not sure how it's going to work, But when Daryl Morey put that tweet out a few years ago, the Houston Rockets GM, and the NBA lost their mind, Morey eventually lost his job, resurfacing with the Sixers. That ain't happening now. Because the woke folk of the world that we live in understand, the woke folk, the leader, CNN, coming out and denouncing the NBA for not denouncing China makes it okay for the NBA to go ahead and do it. And I promise you, those chicken blank folks with the NBA front office are going to do it sooner than later. I'm just telling you. That's the way I look at the world. Doesn't mean it's right, but it's going to happen. And usually in these things, I may miss a game or two. I may say a coach is leaving Purdue to go to Louisville, but I ain't wrong on most of these things. When I put the finger up and take the temperature, the lay of the land, that kind of thing, I got to tell you, I'm at about 99.9%. I may miss a game. I may miss a coaching search. But when it comes to the vibe, nobody's better than me. And I ain't afraid to tell you that. I'm not. I've told you so many things in 2 weeks on this show that have come true. I don't know where we're headed. All right, another PSA. Sunday night's the best night for television, okay? You got Sunday Night Football. You got Curb Your Enthusiasm. You got Yellowstone. You got Succession. I'm guessing The Simpsons are still on. Hell, I don't know. But I got to tell you, Curb Your Enthusiasm, still great. Sunday Night Football, must watch, particularly if you play fantasy football or you've lost your ass during the day gambling and this is your one last chance on Sunday to save the week. And, excuse me, I know Monday Night Football, that starts another week. But Sunday Night Football, you know, if Alvin Kamara can rush for 150 yards, I'm in. That's how we look at Sunday Night Football. But I got to tell you something. Yellowstone keeps getting better and better. Curb Your Enthusiasm, oh my God. It's off the chain, yo. Sunday Night Football, as I mentioned, great. But Succession sucks. Like, I'm all in on Succession. It's on HBO. If you haven't watched it, watch the first season. It's like House of Cards. When House of Cards first came out, House of Cards was must-watch TV. I remember the uber-talented Katie Hartung, who I was working with, told me about House of Cards. She's now on ABC News. And I asked Katie, what is it? Blah, 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 blah. Started watching it. Couldn't get enough of it. See, I'm fixing my jacket. Couldn't get enough of it. And next thing you know, House of Cards dominated my life. In fact, I stayed up till 4 in the morning in a hotel in Fort Worth, watching House of Cards, and I had a 7 a.m. I had to do the Mike and Mike show. That's how addicted I get to these things. First year, great. Then what's-his-face went all pedophile, I guess, or got charged for being a pedophile. Charges were later dropped, Kevin Spacey, and next thing you know, House of Cards is ruined. No Spacey? No House of Cards. Well, Succession's the same thing. First year, loved it. Rich bunch of D-bags. Doing D-bag things, right? And you kind of liked it. A little bit ruthless. It's the media. Guy owns media companies. I'm sitting there go, put me down for 5. I'm in. And then this year, as the lovely and talented Lee Ross Dakich said, each week, it's the same stuff. At least in Yellowstone, we got Beth ready to kill somebody. She wanted a woman on the show to get, quote, I hope you get ass cancer, she said, which brought me out of my chair. I went, holy cow. We'll talk about Beth Dutton later on in the show. But Succession's giving me nothing. Look, if I'm going to waste time, I'd rather talk to Lauren and Stephanie about whatever Real Housewives we're all watching. And by the way, if you're going to watch a Real Housewives, there's really only 3 to watch. New York, New Jersey, and frickin' Beverly Hills. The others are spin-offs. These are the 3 OGs of Real Housewives. And don't at me about it either. Don't call me soft. When the Real Housewives get in a restaurant and they got a private room and the cameras are rolling and they're still willing to throw hands in food, that ain't soft, people. That's Americana. That's America at its best. What are you talking about? Who hasn't been to a upscale, high-profile restaurant with TV cameras in there and hasn't seen a brawl? Raise your hand. Happens every day in real life. Hey, I'm going to St. Elmo's. Yeah, I hope there's a brawl that breaks out. Anybody ever said that? But on The Real Housewives, that's what you got. On Succession, all you got is some nerdy, dopey guys saying short, cute lines, and nothing really happens. And then there's a guy you want to punch. He's the brother. I think he's an addict. I don't know, but he's not the kind of guy you want to watch and keep watching and then punch. He's the guy you legitimately just want to punch because he's a swarmy little know-it-all millennial that hasn't done jack squat. So anyway, if you guys that are fans of Succession, if you disagree with me, please hit me up on Twitter at Dan Dakich. I'll be looking for your responses. The cool thing, see, the media, my friend Teddy Greenstein, Teddy on Twitter told me that Succession was great. I listened, I watched, I loved it. But now it's not. And now I'm the only one with the balls to tell you it's not. I'm sorry. Everybody wants to talk about Beth Dutton. Everybody wants to talk about how hot she is. That's fine. But the show stinks. It's become a horse bleep show. It's become a dullard show, and I'm not happy about it.